In the first part of our video about new construction real estate on the Oregon coast, we talked a little bit about preparing to and looking for a new construction home. In this second video in the series, I've got Seth back with me, and we want to talk a little bit about the process of getting into escrow and then getting to closing with a new construction loan. So we'll break that down into three questions that we receive from our clients and kind of guide you through the purchase process of a new construction home. Our first question in this video is, what are the differences between buying a new construction home and buying a home that existed 10 or 20 or 50 years ago when it comes to making the offer and getting and accept an offer on the property?
Sure. So if the home is listed as to be completed and there's a construction timeline already, there's not a whole lot of differences. The builder will probably ask for more earnest money than general, and once in a while they'll ask for that earnest money to be released early.
Okay.
So the earnest money generally on a single family home, we recommend 1%. So if you're buying a $500,000 home, we say, hey, let's do $5,000 down. And generally that's fine. On a new construction home, that may also be fine. But often we see a kind of higher threshold for that cap because somebody else is carrying those costs all along the way. It's costing them money to complete that home. And they're trying to offset that just in case your life circumstances change. It does happen. We see it where we've got a client that's going to close and then they can't that day because yesterday they lost their job or something happened personally that prevents them getting through underwriting.
So that's a difference that's palpable from a buyer's perspective. The earnest money might be a little bit more. You may even have to be willing to release some of that before closing.
Yep.
Bottom line is that just that type of protection is needed from someone who's taking the risk of building a new house before they have a buyer for that house.
That's right. Yeah.
That's one reasonable difference. Are there any other differences that kind of stand out as far as presenting the offer, what the response from the seller might be on a non-completed new construction home?
It's less negotiable. Yeah, generally the builder won't take less than the purchase price because they're building more than one home. So they're setting the mark for the whole neighborhood. We do see credits negotiated in, especially in this market right now. You might be able to get them to buy your rate down or something that doesn't show when it closes. It still shows the purchase price to be within a small fraction of what all the other comparable homes that they've also built are. But maybe we could eke out 10 or 12 or 15,000 up to 2% of the home's purchase price in some kind of credits.
So I hear a similarity and a little difference in that part of the process, where the difference being kind of no matter what the market's doing, that price is probably going to be that price.
Yeah, you're not going to come in and say, hey, let's try 20% under.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not going to happen.
Going to happen.
No.
But unlike someone, a homeowner who's lived in their home and now they're trying to sell it, the developers are obviously very savvy real estate people. So they understand the opportunity that something like a credit or just something to incentivize the buyer to write that offer is out there maybe more than the person who's put their house up for sale. And that means you need a really solid real estate agent who understands new construction from a buyer's agent's perspective, who knows to ask for those kinds of credits and stuff like that.
Right. How to negotiate that. Yeah.
Okay. So then you make the offer, maybe you negotiate a little bit of credits in, know your market, know which trajectory the market's going on so that you might be able to squeeze those in. You get into escrow, and then other than, I guess, waiting for that completion date, there's not a lot of differences in being in escrow with a title company in Oregon, working through that pending process, right?
Right.
One aspect of that would be earnest money is maybe a little bit more. The contractor probably has an ideal close date at this point, but that might be one difference is you can't assure that completion date of the construction is going to be done by the time you have your closing date in your contracts.
If you got into contract more than 3 months before the estimated close date, I can almost guarantee it's going to push by a little bit.
Okay.
A few weeks. There's always something.
From when you're presenting an offer with your buyer's agent, you're probably asking the contractor, hey, what are you guys projecting for a close date?
Right.
And if they say more than 3 months, you're in the back of your head, you should probably be thinking, whatever this close date is that we established today, it might not be the same in 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, I wouldn't book my moving down.
Yeah. Great.
And what they're looking for is a certificate of occupancy. So that home is going through as many as 20 inspections
from the
county to be able to get that certificate of occupancy. So you want them to have that time and space to get it right and to do all those things, because somebody else, the county, is actually looking out for you as well.
So you establish that closing date. You have to, it's contract law, but be ready for extensions. And like Seth said, don't reserve your moving van too early.
Right.
Be ready for maybe a couple of weeks, a month out past the closing date.
Yeah.
Plan ahead to understand that might happen and be ready to extend the contract and then get to closing when the completion of the project is there.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
And then you close, and that basically is the same process you would do in buying any home. So that takes you through the close process, but there are a couple of things that I wanted to separate out from that for the third question that we have in this video, and that revolves around home inspections, a final walkthrough, punch list, and warranties. Kind of want to bundle that together and have that conversation. So as a buyer, do I want to have a home inspection? Why do I want a home inspection? It's a brand new home. There's nothing wrong with it.
Right. And you do want to have a home inspection because that's just a trained set of eyes. That's a third party that's neutral, that's going to pick out every little thing that they can. And they're used to doing that. And it's almost never a big deal, but it's a big deal to not catch it over time. I mean, if you have little separations in your foundation that aren't structural, but maybe, hey, that's where a critter can squeak in, or the punch list items are more like, oh, look, they didn't grout there, or they missed that little paint there. Things that would just bug you over time that you really should have exactly right for you because it's a new home. I mean, all those little things should be done. There's no reason to not have the contractor come back. And you got to remember, the general contractor isn't the contractor that's doing those things. So he's calling somebody to come back, and that's just how the chain works. And it works well if everybody's willing to speak up.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that would be a little bit of a difference in buying a home that's existed for 20 years, is that you do your inspection, you may negotiate some repairs, but that punch list thing, that's a new construction thing.
That's a new construction.
And you should absolutely, as buyer, it's not taking advantage of it. That's what I want to say. But it's like, you deserve that. That's your right to do it. So you should be doing that as you get to the end of the escrow period and get ready to close.
Don't let that pass you by.
So then the other aspect of it, so get your home inspection, always a good idea, regardless of if it's new construction or not. Absolutely do the walkthrough, have the punch list, and make sure that all the little details are how you want them.
Yep.
And then the third component of this is warranties. So talk to me about builder warranties.
So generally, builder warranties in Oregon are going to be a 1 year, 10-year. It's going to be a 1 year everything, and then a 10-year structural.
Okay.
Yeah.
So everything, get into detail on that.
Well, every builder is going to present you with the warranty that you need to read through. So given the builder, there might be exceptions to this rule. But I mean, really, the ones that I've done, they will come back and deal with anything. And it's funny stuff, that you'll see a drip here, or this shower gets hotter than that shower faster. This thing wasn't insulated, or there's a pipe that's exposed in the yard, or it can be, silly small things, but hey, you get to get them to come back and make that exactly how it's supposed to be. Can't always be exactly how you want it to be. Depending on your builder, they're going to always refer back to code, and codes change every year. And even inspectors and builders will argue about code a little bit, like how many different ways there are to flash a window on the coast and what's the right thing we get into. But the outcome should be that it's shored up and that it's not going to create problems over a long period of time.
Yeah, basically your ownership, or even the
lifetime of that material.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. So that warranty, again, one of those little things that is a difference in new construction versus the buying of a resale home, and something that you as the owner should absolutely utilize.
Yep.
And so that is literally just contacting the
Unfortunately, it's contacting us.
Yeah.
That's usually how it goes. It just gets run through the realtor again often. Sometimes that relationship happens with the buyer and contractor, but generally in the homes that I've done, we do a walkthrough before they take possession and we close, and then we come back and do it again, and then things accumulate. If there's something that needs to be taken care of during that year, we take care of it, but it's something that can wait closer to the end of the year. Then we put everything together closer to before we crest that 1 year mark, and they come back and do the whole list at once.
Okay. So maybe it just depends on the severity of it.
Yeah.
It either needs to get taken care of now because it's a structural thing, or like the hot water heater stopped working.
Oh yeah.
Or it's like, that's a little ticky tacky thing. And it's like, okay, add that to the list. We do want it done, but we might as well grow that list out.
We'll know as we live here. You'll discover things as you go. Oh, trim that little thing, or there's just stuff
trim
like that.
Here. Because everybody's human. Like, there are things that get missed. So again, no homes are perfect, not even new construction homes. So things probably will get found that need to get taken care of. And as an owner, at this point, you do want to utilize that opportunity that you have.
Absolutely.
That is 3 more questions in our series on new construction questions we think you're probably asking yourselves. Again, this is Taj Richardson, Home Oregon Coast, Seth Belzy as well. And I will check you out next time on our next Home Oregon Coast video. And if you want more of these, you can catch us on YouTube. Thank you.
Bye.